Hi, everyone. Welcome to Ahead of the Curve, a fat fashion series produced by NAAFA. I'm Marcy Cruz, your host, and I am the Director of Fashion Industry Relations for NAAFA. And I'm happy to be with you here today in this digital space. Welcome. I'm dialing in from New York City. And as we always do on these episodes, we do land acknowledgement. And I reside on Muncie Lenape tribal land. So if you're with us live, we encourage you to introduce yourselves in the chat to each other and say where you're from and what land you're on. And if you don't know, you can always Google whose land am I on, and you'll find websites that can help you. So in honor of Latinx Heritage Month, otherwise known as Hispanic Heritage Month, we use Latinx instead of the term Hispanic. I am so excited to have Mayra Mejia as my guest. She is a Salvadorian American, fat woman journalist, and I kind of am still getting over having a cold. So excuse me if I fumble a little bit or I'm sniffling. So she's a fashion and culture writer and editor, and she currently resides in Arlington, Virginia, which is Piscataway tribal land. So before we get into today's content, I'd also like to introduce our interpreters from Pro Bono ASL, and they are Lex and Lavender. Welcome. To learn more about the important accessibility work that Pro Bono ASL does, please find them on your favorite social media channel or visit their website at probonoasl.com. For those of you new to NAAFA, we have been working hard to make the world a better place for fat people since 1969. We do that work through education, advocacy, and support. And you can learn more about what we do at our website, which is naafa.org or NAAFA.org, or you can find us on social media at NAAFA Official. So let's start the show. So during her time as managing editor at the Curvy Fashionista, Mayra led an all-woman team of writers and editors, and she helped to create content exclusively for and about fat people. Passionate about fostering inclusive spaces, in 2019, she founded Plush DMV, a Washington, D.C.-based fat-positive community. Honored by Refinery 29 as one of the fashion trailblazers advocating for a size-inclusive future within the fashion industry, Mayra is a leader in the community, using the media as a way to be an activist, pushing for more accessibility and representation for all in fashion. You can follow Mayra at her website, which is Mayra and then Y, Mejia.com, which is MEJIA.com. On Instagram, she is at Mayra Y Mejia. And Darlene will put this information in the chat also. Facebook.com/simply Mayra with 2 A's at the end. And Twitter at Mayra Tweets. And with tweets, she spells it TWEEETS. Also, for the visually impaired, we want to give a visual description. As for me, I am a fat woman, light-skinned. I'm wearing glasses and hoop earrings. I have short, dark hair, and I'm wearing a fuchsia pink top with some sequins that say icon on the front. And I am sitting in front of a white wall. And to my left, I have a portrait of one of my favorites, Audrey Hepburn. Mayra, will you give a visual description of yourself?
Yeah. I am a light-skinned Latina woman, fat, long dark hair with glasses. I'm sitting at my desk. On behind me in the background, there's a door and my gallery wall full of fat art.
Yes. Okay, so first of all, I want to say welcome. It's an honor to have you here. I've been following you for a minute and we've chatted before. Great conversation. I just, there's not a lot of Black and Brown journalists in the fat space that are writing for mainstream publications. So I want to thank you for your work, everything that you do. As I always say, I like to give people their flowers now instead of later after the fact. So definitely I'm handing you your flowers and keep up the great work. Just want to say that before we kick the questions off. So anyway, I want to know, how did you get your writing career started, and why was it important to you to focus on writing about fat fashion and culture?
Honestly, from the time I can remember, I've been a big reader, and I loved picking up magazines, especially fashion magazines, like YM and Vogue and Cosmopolitan, all those types of magazines, and read about fashion and daydream about being able to wear those clothes because at the time, that was only a dream.
Right.
Yeah. And so it was cool. It was my little escape. And I thought it was really nice to be able to forecast trends or tell people this is the cool thing to wear, or well, this is where you can find this. But I never actually thought of it as a career path when I was younger. I tried different things as I grew up. I went to cosmetology school. I did makeup for a couple years. But then I was still called to writing. And so I think my first big break in writing was, I have a friend, Sarah Conley.
Yes, I know her.
She's an OG. Yeah, OG blogger. And she has this website, Rascal Honey. And I was like, hey, I don't know if it was her or me that was like, hey, I would love to guest write on your website. And she totally was down for it. And I loved it. And I got really good response out of it. So I'm like, I'm going to try to make this a thing. So I started doing different blogs. And then I got connected via, I think it was Sarah, to Marie Dene of the Curvy Fashionista. And then I started writing for Curvy Fashionista for a while. I started out as a contributor. And then I started, moved up as an editor, all the way up to a managing editor for a while. And that was a great experience for me. I learned a lot there. And from there, I moved on to different publications, written for Brides, Birdie.
Mm-hmm. And, which I mentioned Birdie later on. Yes.
But my main focus was always plus size fashion because that's what I was passionate about. And that's what I wanted to share with the world. Because I think there's so much out there and so many perspectives that aren't being shared. And that's where I want to do. I want to amplify brands, amplify influencers, people that are making a difference. And I think in plus size fashion, there are a lot of people doing that.
Yes, definitely. And so, recently, you spoke with Refinery 29 and, as I mentioned before, they honored you and said, you were one of the fashion trailblazers advocating for a size inclusive future within the fashion industry, which I think is wonderful. So you had said something that really stood out to me, on the importance of plus size fashion being featured more by mainstream media, because we know that terms like body positivity and size inclusivity have become buzzwords now. So you do see more fat fashion being covered, not as much as I would like it to be.
Mm-hmm.
And you had said to that point, it isn't frivolous, it's foundational. For many, they've discovered body positivity and fat liberation through fashion. When it comes to inclusivity, there's always something more that we can do. So in your opinion, what more can we do to push for more fat fashion coverage in mainstream media?
I think we can all collectively go to the brands or the publications and ask them, where's the plus size coverage? Where are the, listicles for this, for plus size, like wedding dresses or plus size whatever, just like how they have it in straight size. Usually a lot of mainstream brands tend to do like maybe 1 or 2 body positive pieces a month. And then they're like, we're good. But it shouldn't be that way. It should be consistent. We are the majority. Plus size people are the majority here. So why aren't we given the same amount of coverage? Mm-hmm. Because a lot of the times people editors and publications, they simply they don't see the benefit to it. So that is why it's so important to have actual plus size fat people working in the industry to say, like, actually, no, you're wrong. Like, this is important. And then eventually they do see, because, that article is getting clicks, those, it's positive. I don't see any negative to come from more plus size coverage, more fat positive coverage.
I agree. I mean, it's a $31 billion industry.
Yeah.
The average American woman right now is a size 18, 20. Mm-hmm. So definitely, I totally agree with you. And, and to further that question, I personally wish there were more plus size dedicated media outlets. There used to be quite a few back in the day, but they've slowly died out. And I wanted to ask you, do you think that they'll start to make a comeback? Or do we focus our efforts more on getting mainstream media, to see us more? Or do we do both? What are your thoughts on that?
That's a good question. I definitely hope that there are more plus size dedicated publications and media out there. I do know that we have a few, but yes, they are mostly gone, or I don't know. I think we need a Gen Z take on plus size fashion, something fresh, something new with different perspectives. That I think is pivotal and key. Because right now, Gen Z, they're all about body positivity and learning about ethical fashion, sustainable fashion. But I don't see, I think that's the next step. A younger, youthful view, because I think it's definitely needed.
Yeah, I agree.
Go ahead.
No, I agree. Go ahead.
But to your point, I definitely do think we should also focus on increasing coverage in traditional media, just because we deserve to be there. There's money to be made there. And, we deserve that representation. There's so many people out here have amazing opinions, amazing style. Why aren't they being featured? So
I agree. I think social media has done a wonderful job of helping people get more visibility.
Yes.
But I think that the media is not catching on quick enough.
Mm-hmm.
And and it's kind of a question, how can we get them to notice more? But I also feel like it's people like you. We need more people like you on the writing side as journalists, pushing for more articles.
Yeah.
Like you said, you got your first gig with Sarah through Rascal Honey because you asked her.
Yes.
And I think that a lot of writers need to realize that sometimes you just have to ask. If you sit back and wait, you might not get that opportunity. Sometimes you have to put your hustle hat on and say, okay, I may get a no, but I'm going to go out and I'm going to pitch, hey, I would like to have a monthly column, about plus fashion or fat fashion or however you want to call it. I think that's the way to get us more visibility, because I feel like mainstream media is kind of stuck. And I don't know how you feel about that. Like, they're so used to doing, when you're doing the same thing and you get comfortable.
Yeah.
And you're afraid to like venture out. So they kind of like dip their toe a little bit. Oh, we're gonna use body positivity, the term in this article, or we're gonna interview one fat girl who's a size 22. I don't know, what do you think?
Yeah, I definitely think so. I think mainstream media and like publications, they tend to follow a formula and they don't tend to divest from that formula because it's the risk. And if they do take that risk, they give it like half a second. And if it doesn't succeed crazy, like, they cut it. And it's just, I don't know. Something needs to change.
Yes.
And I see it changing. It's changing slowly but surely. But yes, definitely pitch. Actually, when you were saying how pitch people about a monthly column, that's something I did when I was first starting too. I pitched a local publication. Like, hey, I'm a writer. I write about fashion. I would love to have like a plus size column. They said not right now, but they did like come to me for other opportunities, like because I introduced myself. So I slowly made my way in there. So you might not get exactly what you want, but you get a foot in the door.
Yes, definitely. That's a good thing to point out, because it could lead to other opportunities and still give you visibility in that space, but just not how you thought it would be. Yeah, that's a good point. So also, besides writing, like, I love how you take a like community-based approach, in all the work that you do, and you've created safe spaces for fat folks to access. And, such as like the Fat and Thriving Club, which I love that title, by the way. Thriving, okay?
Yeah.
And also Plus DMV.
Yes.
So tell us more about those spaces and why you felt it was important to create them.
So I first started Plush DMV in like 2019. And it was just out of like, I want to have more fat friends to hang out with and to like experience like the city with. Like I've lived in DC all my life and like I'm pretty comfortable here, but I know that a lot of people just recently moved here. They don't have like a community. And so I was like, I'm going to try and like round up some people, do a happy hour. And it went really well and it was received really well. And so I'm like, maybe I'll make this like a thing. Like I'm going to actually make this like something that I really invest my time into. And I mean, now it's like 2022 and we're still doing events. Well, we had to take a major break because of COVID. But we recently started it up earlier this year and it's been really nice. We've been doing like outside, inside events. Actually, I'm going to host a plus size clothing swap on Sunday in the DC area.
Okay.
So it's going to be fall focus. So sweaters, all this stuff. And it's like last time it was amazing. We had a summer one and I got a lot of good stuff. And it was all sizes from sizes 14 to like 5X, 6X, 7. So but I think it's really important to have like a community-based approach to this, because in my opinion, without community, we're nothing. Like, like there's only so much that one person can do. But as a community, we're so much stronger. So that's plush. And then for Fat and Thriving, that came about during the quarantine, so COVID quarantine, when everyone was like on Clubhouse. So I created that group on Clubhouse because I found myself like having these amazing conversations with a lot of like fat activists, fat influencers, people from all different types of like viewpoints, and having like really intense but informative and meaningful conversations. And I'm like, I want to create a space where people feel comfortable having those types of conversations. Anyone can start a chat, a group talk. And yeah, it's been really nice to be able to give that space to people to express themselves.
Wow. And that's amazing. I think it's very important since we have to deal with the craziness of the world, it's nice to have safe spaces for us to be around, other fat people and just feel comfortable and just be able to be ourselves and use our voices. I think that's another way you amplify voices too, which I think is very amazing. So thank you for that. So speaking about fashion, you've written so many pieces about fashion brands during your career. And I noticed, you include, those that have extended sizes. And so I was going to mention Birdie because one of my favorite articles that you've written is for Birdie. And it was titled 20 Size Inclusive Clothing Brands That Carry Up to a 6X or Larger. And that's a topic you don't really see covered much in mainstream media because they use size inclusive, like their way of defining size inclusivity is if a brand carries straight size and plus sizes. They don't realize the term inclusive means all, right? So you don't really hear a lot about those brands that carry above a 3X. So I love when I see articles like the one you wrote that highlights, and showcases those brands because we need to know about them. So why do you think the media shies away from featuring brands that offer above a 3X, and then the second part to this question is what brands that offer extended sizes, which ones are you most excited about?
I think media tends to not feature brands that go up to like more than a 3X because it takes a little bit of digging. Like you have to put some effort into finding those brands. Most of the time they're not like super mainstream. And also like, for magazines and publications, they work on like affiliate links and stuff like that. And a lot of the times you have like the large brands like Levi's or like Gap or something like that. That have like large affiliate links. And unfortunately, like the more inclusive brands don't have that pool. So they might get mentioned, but it's not often. But I don't see why we should. There are people out there above a 3X, me included. I'm a 4X, 5X sometimes, and people need clothes. And like, there's brands that are like making amazing clothes for over 4X, 5X, 7X. Like, some of my favorites are Smart Glamour. That's an amazing brand. And they have lots of, it's like a little bit of everything. They have like formal wear, bathing suits, like basics. And I think they go from a size, let me see.
Well, she does custom.
And custom, yeah. But the size range that she has is like double at XXS to 15X, and then custom sizing, which is amazing. Peridot Robes is also another brand that I really like. The robes.
The robes are gorgeous. I had Marina on as my guest a couple of months ago. She's amazing.
She's amazing. And she's so passionate about like her brand. Like she brings us along in her like finding the fabric and choosing like, different designs, and they're so good. And it's so nice to have like a nice, comfortable robe that fits me. Like,
yes, definitely. Yes.
There's also another brand that's just pretty new. I just learned about it a couple of weeks ago. They're called Joy Toast, and they just launched. I think they're not even launched yet. They're on a Kickstarter.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And they seem amazing, and they go up to a 7X.
Yeah, she's a friend of Marina's.
Yeah. And okay. Yes.
I definitely want to share. I just got her Kickstarter link. I want to offer support to her because it's hard to find those designers that are passionate about designing above a 3X. We have to rally around them and support them. So yeah, no, definitely. You and I should start twinning. We should get an outfit from Joy Toast and
twin. Which one are you getting? Because I want the Daisy one.
Yes, definitely. And to the audience, we'll definitely share that link when this video is posted to Joy Toast if you want to learn more about the Kickstarter. I don't have the link with me, but that was a good call out. And I also wanted to explain, Mayra was talking about affiliate links. For those of you who don't know. So basically in the fashion world, in media and for influencers, we join affiliate programs. And what that does is, let's say I write a blog post and I'm putting links to like this shirt. I would do it, this shirt's from Lane Bryant. So I would join Lane Bryant's affiliate program. So what I will do is to link to the shirt, I will use an affiliate link. And if you buy this shirt, I get a percentage of a commission for you buying the shirt through the link that I posted on my blog. And that's how influencers make their money. That's how it's not a lot of money. There are some bloggers who make good money, but it's a lot of work. But it helps us keep our blogs going. And so that's what she was talking about. So with media, with publications, they use affiliate links in their articles. So many indie brands and like startups, they don't have affiliate programs. So a lot of times they're not included in articles because the media outlet or the influencer won't get a kickback.
Mm-hmm.
So it's unfortunate that it has to come down to money, but basically that was what she was talking about. I just kind of wanted to explain that for those who didn't understand the whole affiliate situation. Because I like to educate too, there's a lot of things people don't know that go on in the fashion industry. So that's much. So anyway, I wanted to ask you, what's your advice to aspiring fat writers of color who want to enter the mainstream media space?
Do it. Go for it. I mean, plainly, yes, do it. But also some constructive advice would be shoot your shot, please. And follow editors, follow writers that you admire, follow publications that you love, because you never know when they're looking for new, fresh talent, or you never know when you might connect with someone and, an opportunity might come your way. Also, I would say use what you have. So if you have a social media account, write a really nice caption, or write a newsletter would be amazing for people to start out and get to know your voice and get to know who you are as a person and a journalist. But also I would say, please know your worth, and please get paid for what you do. I know a lot of times a lot of people say you have to pay your dues, and yes, that's true. But I mean, your words have value, your opinion and your viewpoint have value. Just remember that. So because it's easy for a lot of times, a lot of young, hungry writers get taken advantage of, and I don't want that. I don't want to see that anymore. And I mean, if you have any questions, ask me. Like, my DMs are open. I'm still navigating this space too, but like, the publications need you, the magazines need you, and we should never have one or two sole voices for plus size fashion, for anything really. We need a diversity of voices and opinions. So please pursue your passion.
Amen. Amen, girl. Amen. Because it's so true. And I remember we spoke about that previously, about the disparity, like in pay, like even for writers of color, and even plus size writers in general, is just, we're paid less. And I think that it's true what you said, know your worth to the point where you're going to advocate for yourself.
Yeah.
And you're not going to just accept anything that comes by, weigh the opportunity and see if it's worth it.
Yeah.
To you. Mm-hmm. That's very smart words. And I hope you don't regret saying your DMs are open, girl.
My DMs are open. I might take a day or two to get to you, but I'm always here,
Yes. I'm sure people out there will appreciate that. So what's next for you? Like, what is your 5-year plan from now till 2028, right? No, 2027.
Oh my God. I don't even know.
I'd like to do, like, well, for me, and listening to you speak, like, I think Fat and Thriving, I keep coming back to it because I love that name.
Yes.
But I don't think people are on Clubhouse anymore. I don't know. I haven't heard anything.
No,
you can like pivot and kind of expand on Fat and Thriving.
Yeah, that could be its own separate entity. Yes. I wouldn't mind doing that. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, yeah. Okay, now you got me thinking.
Listen, I'm just saying, I'm full of ideas. I'm an idea manager. My DMs are open.
Okay.
No, I'm an OG. I am passing the torch to you. You are the next generation of journalists and writers. Yeah.
I mean, there's so much that can be done. Like, this space is so ripe for like newness and discovery and change that it's exciting. I mean, you're an OG, but you're still here. You can still, like, make change and, like, innovate, and like, I think there's a space for everyone here. But for me, I think I'm going to keep on continuing with Plush DMV, because that's like my baby, my first little community, and see what happens with Fat and Thriving. As far as my like professional career, actually, I'm just I just got started working with Refinery 29, working with their shopping content. Yeah. So I'm going to be overseeing like their plus size shopping content, making sure it's up to date and as inclusive as possible, and amplifying plus size content in general. So that's exciting.
That's very exciting.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Excited for that. And that's like, thank you. It's fairly new. So like, I'm still filling out paperwork, but exciting. But yeah, I'm just like along for the ride and here to amplify people and see what happens with plus size fashion. And, I want to can we talk about what happened this week with Kanye West and the fashion editor that he bullied? I mean, did you see that?
No, and we have a few minutes to talk before we get into the Q&A with the audience. So yes, please.
Okay. So so Kanye had a fashion show, and he featured a White Lives Matter T-shirt. Yes. And
wow.
obviously people had a issue with it, including the fashion editor. Her name is Gabriella Johnson. She's on staff on Vogue. She's incredible. She is one of the fashion editors, and she just happens to be a plus size Black woman. There was a lot of people that criticized Kanye, but he chose to target her on his social media, posted photos of her, and was basically bullying her to his 15 million followers. And it's just this, I was just shocked, and I was so angry because I'm there's so few of us in this industry, and she's so well respected, and you can still be bullied by someone like Kanye. But thankfully,
he went after her though.
Huh?
Because she's fat. He went out. I believe he went after her because she's fat.
Yes, because he doesn't believe fat people can be fashionable.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Because he probably how dare she be in my space talking about me?
Right.
She doesn't belong here. That's probably, I don't want to speak for him, but that's how I feel in terms of stuff that he has done in the past.
Yeah.
This is not the first time that he's been a bully and has been after people who are marginalized. So, yeah.
Yeah, it definitely gave off that vibe. Obviously, like you said, we can't speak for him and his intentions, but it was very telling that she was the only one that he targeted and posted photos of. But he did get a lot of backlash, and which made me happy, because that's unacceptable. And apparently they met and hashed it all out or whatever. But it was just wow, this is what happens when you dare to be a plus size woman in fashion. Yikes.
Right. And a woman of color also. It's just
absolutely.
Definitely. Yeah. It's good that she had support, and we can learn from that. Because I do know in the fashion industry, sometimes there's not as much support as there should be. So that's definitely a lesson about that we have to not only be advocates for ourselves, but for each other.
Absolutely.
And that's how we amplify voices too, by showing our support and being there, for our brothers and sisters, and also our, non-binary people, everyone in our community. We have to support. We have to show support in some way. Mm-hmm. Even if it's a kind word, even if it's standing up for someone, so definitely.
Absolutely.
So we're 45 minutes in. So we're going to do Q&A. So if anyone in the audience has questions for Mayra, here's your time to ask her. And she seems very open. Like she said, her DMs are open. So if anyone has any questions about writing for media, her experiences as a, Latina journalist who's also fat, in this space, because as I don't know if I've said this before, but mainstream fashion media is dominated by white, straight size or smaller fats who write pieces that don't always represent all of us.
Yeah.
But they're out there, they're dominating. So if anybody has any questions, please drop it in the chat. And we can ask Mayra right now. Even if you want to offer some supportive words and not a question, feel free. If you want to say, go, 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 or, Oh, and also while we're waiting, can you drop the information, the link for Plush DMV for those people who may be in the DC area, Washington, DC, who may want to participate in any events that you have going on?
I will. Hold on 1 sec.
And while you're doing that, I also have a question for you. Yay.
Ooh, okay.
Let me know when you're ready.
Okay, give me a sec. All right, I'm ready.
Okay. So, question. What has your experience been with publications discouraging you from using the word fat in your writing? You know the eye emojis, like,
yeah. Oh my goodness. So yeah, a lot of the times people do prefer plus size, because it's just the more acceptable term just generally. But I do try to sprinkle it in, it might not be the main descriptor that I use, but I will use it because it's important.
yes,
people are so scared of the word fat, and I understand because it was weaponized against us for so long. But it's just a descriptor, and there's nothing wrong with being fat. And the more we use it, the more it's normal. Because honestly, it did take me a while to do it. It takes everyone a while at first to accept it as like, that's just how I am. I'm fat. But yeah, I think people should loosen up,
Yeah, I think, yeah.
I sprinkled a little.
Fine when I use it, and I say it so normal, like it's part of my conversation now.
Yeah.
And people will pause when I say the word fat, like, is it okay to say it? And I'll have to like give them that kind of intro to it and say, well, I use the word fat. I'm okay with the word fat as a descriptor. It doesn't bother me. And then they look at me like, okay, because they don't want me to start, she's going to curse me out if I call her fat or something, but it's like, I use the word. So, I kind of have to give that kind of, that kind of intro to them saying, hey, you can,
Yeah.
Because I mean, my cousin's husband, when I had said, oh yeah, I'm fat and fabulous, he like paused, like he was walking by me and he paused and he looked at me and I said, it's okay. It doesn't myself, like, because they think if you're using the word fat, like, you don't love yourself. And I think with using the word fat in an article, also we get accused of, oh, we're glorifying obesity. We're not glorifying obesity. We're using a term that's a descriptor.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And also, like, what's wrong with glorifying being amazing and fat and fabulous? But
we're all fat and thriving.
I mean, we're fat and thriving, and what's the problem? But
exactly.
Yeah, I mean, people are just so uncomfortable with bodies that don't look a certain way, and it's just like, let's celebrate all bodies. Like, I say this like, I don't know, it's taken me years, but like you get there to a point where it's just like, I'm just fat and it's okay. Like, it's not a negative. It's just how my body is, and that's fine. There's like a lot more to me than that. But of course I amplify it because it needs amplifying in general in my work. But yeah.
Someone said
obesity.
Glorious. This body is glorious. I want to get a shirt that says that. I also want to get a shirt that says fat and thriving too, because I think that describes me to the T. This is why I keep mentioning, because I love that.
I have one. I made one.
Oh my goodness. I have to get one made too, because I just think it's amazing. It's a testament to just living your life, and, just being joyful and being happy, and you can do that at any size. I mean,
yeah.
Oh, Tiger said, do the merch for us, Mayra.
I mean, I'll look into it. I wanted to find, if I do any merch, I really want it to be available in a plethora of like larger extended sizing. So
yes, definitely.
I have to find someone that fits that bill.
Yes, definitely. And I think also going back to when we were talking about why we're not featured as much, extended sizes in mainstream media, I also think it's because they're afraid of the reaction of showing larger bodies. They want to show those acceptable bodies because, it's about the money, but I also think it's a fear of the reaction because it's tied to that negative stigma of the word fat, But my thing is, don't dip your toe in and just say, oh, this brand is size inclusive and it's wonderful. But then you show a body that's like a size 18.
Yes.
Then act like you're really like doing something like epic, You're not, because that's like the average American woman. Come on, like we could do better. We could do better.
Show the 8X, show the 7X, like
show us doing everyday things. Like, why do you have to do like the shock value? Like I remember the girl who was model for Universal Standard in her underwear, and it was such a big thing to have this picture of this girl who was a 5X, I believe, in her underwear. And everyone talked about it. And I said, okay, I'm glad that they're talking about it, but why not talk about the women who go to work every day, who wear suits, or the moms, or, the activists are out there, or just, why does it always have to be something shocking?
Yeah.
So, we're people, like, talk to us. That's it. Give us visibility, show us all. That's what I think. So I don't know, one day at a time, we will get there. But we've come to the end of our episode. Thank you, Mayra. It's really been a pleasure having you here.
James in here.
You can always come back. Maybe a year from now, Latinx Heritage Month. Maybe you'll be my regular guest. Who knows? But I love that we talked about this topic because I feel like people need to know more about the experiences of, fat journalists, particularly those of us, what we go through, and what we're trying to do. We're trying to use our own voices in that way to push for change. So I appreciate you. I appreciate all the work that you do. I look forward to seeing what you're going to do in the future. I know it's going to be amazing things. I'm going to be right there with you, cheering you on. Okay. So I just want to say thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you for your work. And thank you for, all you do in the community.
Thank you. Thank you, and NAAFA and Tigris and everyone here. I appreciate you, and I hope you had a good time.
Yes, of course. So before we sign off, I want to give thanks to the folks over at Pro Bono ASL, Lex and Lavender. Thank you. And again, you can find us at NAAFA.org, on social media at NAAFA Official. And in the chat are links where you can find Mayra. Please go follow her, check out her website so you can find out more information about Plush DMV. She mentioned they will be doing a clothing swap if you're in that area. And just to keep be updated and check out everything that she's going to be doing, because she's out there and she's repping for us. So let's support her in any way we can. So now we offer these webinars free of charge to the FAT community and FAT supporters of all sizes. And we are able to do that through the generous support of people like you. So to support more programming like this, please visit naafa.org/give to contribute. And we appreciate any amount. So thank you again for tuning in. Thank you, Mayra. You're the best. I want to say in Spanish, huepa, which means go ahead, girl. Go ahead, do it. Mwah, mwah, mwah. And thanks again, and good night.